Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 10 fragrances that I mention way too often on my channel. Wait, this doesn't sound right. No, 10 fragrances I'll never stop recommending. That sounds better. This was originally a tag video set up by the Fragrance Apprentice, and it's supposed to be 25 fragrances I'll never stop recommending, but broken into 3 videos. I did the first one and the second one. If you've not checked those out, you can do so by clicking this little pop-out thing above my head. This being the last video, it was supposed to be 5 fragrances, but I cheated, and it's gonna be 10. Obviously, I love each one of these fragrances. That's why I'm not gonna stop recommending them. And if you've watched this channel for a long time, you've seen each one of these in the past, at least once. So let's jump into it. Let's check these out. I'm also gonna link each one of these fragrances in the description below, like always, so if you're interested, you can check them out down there. Let's get things started off with this one, Armani Code Absolu from Giorgio Armani, my favorite Code fragrance. Vanilla, tonka, suede, mandarin, and apple are some of the notes in this fragrance, and I think it is just so good. Absolutely fell in love with it the first time I smelled it. It does have a similarity to Code Profumo. Some people out there are Team Profumo, some are Team Absolu. You know, I like both sides. I like both. But this one, I like a bit more. The opening to this smells fantastic. It's sparkling, it's sweet, it's got a good amount of spiciness in there as well. As it dries down, it's got a soft suede. The fragrance is not as aggressive as Code Profumo. It's a little bit more refined. I don't know that I'd call it more mature because it's still a really sweet fragrance, but it is a little bit more restrained than Code Profumo. Still does have that same vibe though, that same feel, that same DNA. And I'm also gonna be giving away a fragrance in this video at some point. I found a still sealed box of one of these that I had in my collection, and it's gonna do better with one of you guys than just collecting dust here. So I'm gonna give that away. Next up, Azzaro Wanted by Night. The longer that I have this and the more times I smell it, the more I like it. Cinnamon, mandarin, tobacco, vanilla, and incense are some of the notes in this fragrance. And in my opinion, this is still the best fragrance in the Wanted line. Some people are gonna prefer the new, the Most Wanted to this one, but I think when you put them side by side, this one is much more unique, much more enticing. It's a great night out fragrance. It's a great compliment puller, attention grabber. It does have a unique kind of scent profile compared to most designer fragrances out there. And for the price, you can pick this up at discounters. It's awesome. This one, if memory serves, is about $30 for a full bottle at discounters. And that's great. Next up, we've got one from Guerlain Vetiver. This is one of my go-to Vetiver fragrances, and like Azzaro Wanted by Night, the price is great at discounters. This one's gonna be typically in that $30 range at discounters. It might creep up toward 35 and sometimes be a little bit below 30, but it's right in that range. It's got vetiver, oak moss, bergamot, tobacco, frankly, actually a whole lot of notes. You can go online and check them out, but there's a bunch. This is a little more of a mature vetiver. You might say it's not as clean as something like Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. It's also not as dark as something like Encre Noir from Lalique. It's somewhere in between. Very easy to wear this one formally. Great office fragrance as well. This one you can wear with the suit absolutely any time of the year and pull it off. A number of Guerlain fragrances at discounters are just outstanding buys if we're talking bang for your buck, and this one is right up toward the top of the heap. Now let's go for something a little bit more expensive. It's Idole de Lubin from Lubin, and this one gets compared to Bentley for Men Intense, or actually would it be Bentley for Men Intense gets compared to this one. It's got rum, ebony wood, leather, and spices, and during the winter months or late fall, this fragrance right here is a stunner. It's got a little bit of boozy sweetness in there, but it's never overly sweet. It's got a mysterious edge to it for sure. The spiciness carries on throughout the life of the fragrance. Like I mentioned, if you want a cheaper take on this or more affordable take on it, get Bentley for Men Intense. But if you have the money to spend, get this. And this isn't the original bottle style of the fragrance. It actually looked like this originally, but those are getting harder to find. If you buy this nowadays, it's gonna look like this right here. Still though, the fragrance itself is amazing. Don't worry about the difference in the bottlings. Don't spend crazy extra money to get the vintage. And like I've said a million times, if you're worried about the price, you know, blind buying it because it's expensive, buy a sample first or a decant or something like that. See if it works for you. Now this next one is kind of a twofer. It's Ferragamo Uomo or Uomo Signature. Now between the two, I prefer Signature myself. Just in terms of what I like to smell, I think Signature is a little more interesting. But if you're going for just maximum compliments, then the original Uomo is a little bit better, at least from what my experience is. Really though, either one. Yeah, either one. Nice. Don't do that, actually. So this is a sweet, spicy fragrance. It's got a tiramisu note in here that's gonna give you a coffee sort of feel. You've also got cardamom, you've got tonka, and some ambroxan. Both Uomo and Signature are gonna be better for fall and wintertime. These fragrances have traditionally, well, since they've come out, been really affordable at discounters. I know that's kind of a recurring theme with a lot of these fragrances. But when you can buy a fragrance for 30, 35, 40 bucks, something like that, and it punches out of its weight class, if you want to call it, you know, it smells like it's more expensive than what you paid for it, it makes it pretty easy to recommend them. Lately though, I have noticed the prices on these kind of creeping up a little bit at discounters. They're not quite as inexpensive as they used to be. So that's not great. And I'm gonna keep my eyes open on that and see if that keeps happening as time goes and they get more and more expensive. At that point, maybe, you know, I have to see what's going on there and reevaluate. As of right now though, those are fantastic smelling fragrances, great attention grabbers, very easy to wear, and great in cool weather. Now this fragrance, I love. Interlude Black Iris from Amouage. Oof. Oof. Leather, iris, oud, and olibanum, some of the notes in the fragrance. This takes Amouage Interlude, makes it, frankly, more wearable. The opening is not as aggressive. It's not as off-putting or divisive. The opening of the original Interlude, a lot of people will smell and they'll be like, no. There's an oregano note in the original Interlude that just does not work for some people. And in this one, that is gone. The opening is improved. It's more wearable. It's not as aggressive. It still has that Interlude DNA. It's just rounded off, smoothed out. The iris in here adds a nice little touch of sweetness, never goes too powdery or anything like that, which I very much appreciate. And overall, it's a surprisingly versatile scent, especially in cooler weather. This is one that my wife absolutely loves. I didn't expect that. Kind of one of those things where you're almost relegating it to when you can wear it because you know you're gonna catch hate if you wear it around your significant other. And then she smelled it and she loved it too. So you know what? 2 big thumbs up from me. That one is amazing. Ah, yes. Halloween Man X is the next fragrance. And this is one that I thought was gonna be total trash. I absolutely thought it would be garbage. I didn't really like the advertising that they had for it before I received the bottle. I thought it looked cheesy. The note breakdown, I didn't really have a lot of faith. Didn't think they'd be able to pull it off. Then I got it in, really loved it. Now some people compare this one to Uomo, Ferragamo Uomo that I just talked about. They both have coffee, they both have sweetness. So there is a similarity there, but the fragrances aren't the same. Now, along with that coffee, you also have tonka in here. You've got whiskey, you got cinnamon. The coffee is the main thing I remember about the fragrance. It's the main thing that draws me back in. And with this one, it's more of a roasted coffee note. So in Ferragamo Uomo, the coffee is, like I said, tiramisu. So it's this really sweetened coffee. Here though, you get that roasted edge to the coffee bean. This is yet another fragrance that's very affordable, very inexpensive from discounters, and I think it is well worth the price. And on top of it all, you get 4.2 ounces here instead of your normal 3.4. So that means you get 25% more fragrance than you normally would. That's gonna matter to some people. They go through their fragrances like crazy. For others, it won't matter at all, but it is nice to get that little extra. Ooh, this next scent right here, I sold years ago and immediately regretted selling it and then bought another bottle. It is L'air du Désert Marocain from Tower. This one has amber, it has woods, it's got spices. This fragrance is one of the most enchanting fragrances that I've ever smelled. I know that sounds weird. Enchanting fragrances, but it really is. It has a transportive quality to it where you smell it and you're like, oh, wow. It smells like I'm in a different place, a different world, a different time. So it's supposed to recreate the smell of a desert wind blowing through a spice market, and it absolutely captures that. This stuff is just mind-melting. I don't even know why I sold it, frankly. I think at the time I just thought, you know, I love the way it smells, but when am I gonna wear it? That whole mindset. And then as soon as I sold it, I was like, man, it doesn't even matter if I don't wear it. I wanna be able to take the cap off and smell it, or even just spray it in the room or something. And as time has gone on, yeah, obviously I've come around to the point where it's like, yeah, obviously you can wear it. It's not that difficult. But at the time, I was talking myself into selling it and then immediately regretted it. So this one right here, I will always recommend to people, especially if they're wanting a fragrance that kind of has a wearable edge to it, but also presents fragrances as works of art at the same time. All right, next up we've got Dolce & Gabbana The One Eau de Parfum. This is the quintessential date night fragrance. Amber, tobacco, ginger, cardamom, and grapefruit are some of the notes in this fragrance. And really I could have put the eau de toilette in here as well, but I think that overall the eau de parfum takes the eau de toilette and improves on it in pretty much every way imaginable. So this is one of the times that a flanker came out and made the original obsolete. Most people are gonna reach for the eau de parfum over the eau de toilette nowadays. Sure, you're gonna have some people that still reach for the EDT, but most people are gonna want this one. And sure, nowadays, because of how many people own the one and wear the one or have worn the one, it no longer smells all that unique to some people, sure. But at the same time, there are very, very, very few fragrances out there that have as much of an addictive, sensual, inviting character as this fragrance does. So that's what makes this such a great date night fragrance. And if somebody doesn't really have a collection at all, and they haven't smelled very much out there, they're looking for something easy to pull off, that they know is gonna work in date situations or close encounter situations, I'll point them to this. Now, before I do the official last fragrance, I'm gonna do the giveaway and a couple of bonus fragrances. And the reason that I'm including these is because I realized after making this list up that pretty much all of these are fall and winter fragrances. Sure, some of them you can use in spring also, but these are all pretty rich scents. So a couple bonuses for you really quickly. First up, Un Jardin sur le Nil from Hermes. It's got grapefruit, mango, florals, and musk as some of the notes in the fragrance. This is supposed to smell like a garden on the Nile River. And the first time I smelled this, I was just blown away. It's so realistic, so natural smelling. It's green, it's got a good amount of sweetness, but done in a very, very tempered way. It doesn't come across overbearing ever. It's definitely unisex. Ladies can pull this off very easily, but it just smells amazing. I absolutely love this. And then this one, 78 Vintage Green from Banana Republic. This is another fragrance that punches out of its weight class. It doesn't cost very much, but it smells really good. Bergamot, green tea, fig, and green notes, some of the notes in the fragrance. And as the name suggests and the note breakdown suggests, it's very green. It's a spring, summertime scent. It's very clean, very fresh, very uplifting, great for daytime, great for casual use. And now the giveaway. That one, 78 Vintage Green, still sealed. Like I said, I was making this list up and I saw that I had this sitting there in the collection, and I've had it for probably a year or 2 years at this point, and I'm never gonna use it. So one of you can have this from my collection, and I hope you really enjoy it. So here's what you've got to do in order to be entered in the giveaway. You have to be subscribed to the channel, you have to like the video, you have to leave a comment below. In the comment, just tell me which of these fragrances you like the most. That's all you gotta do. And then about 10 days from now, I'll pick a winner, put it up on the community tab of my YouTube channel. As long as you're subscribed, you should see that. And if you're the winner, just hit me up with your mailing address. I'll get this out to you. All right, official final fragrance, finally. Gentleman Eau de Parfum from Givenchy. It's got black vanilla, it has tolu balsam, it's got black pepper, and then iris, which is the main note in the fragrance. This has been compared to Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense, you know, fragrances that have a concentration on iris, where the iris might come across makeup-y. That's how it's typically described anyway, and since that's the easiest way to break it down, we'll just go with that. I don't really like to draw that comparison though with this and those other fragrances. I love all of them, actually. All those fragrances I just mentioned, I love all of them. But they all do iris in their own sort of way. And I can tell you that the way the vanilla and the tolu balsam are used in here with the iris gives it such an alluring sweetness and this slight mysterious edge as well. A fragrance that is great in cool weather, cold weather, great in formal situations, even great on a date. As of right now for me, this is the standout fragrance in this line. There are other ones that I like a great deal in this line. Maybe stay away from the original Eau de Toilette, but pretty much all the other ones are very good. But if I could have just one, it'd be this one. So there we go. 10 more fragrances I'll never stop recommending. Make sure to do all that stuff for the giveaway if you're interested. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. And also, thanks for hanging out with me till the end. Most guys don't, they're already gone by now, but you that's listening to this right now, thank you.